Welcome back to another episode of Banditland Boulevard. I'm one of your co-hosts, Trevor Howard, and across from me via the Zoom platform, we got Tony LaMonica, aka 90 Oxhead 98TL, covering I mentioned 9-8, covering the 9-8 loss to the Georgia Swarm at the KeyBank Center. For the first time since 2018, the Buffalo Bandits are 1-2 to start the season. And if I'm going to give any initial thoughts, it was a battle of the top goalies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Dobson and Vince put on a show for everybody, and the offense for either team wasn't really clicking as much as they wanted to. Probably to say it could have been ugly if, God forbid, one of the two goaltenders were to start loosening up and could have allowed maybe 12 to 13. But these goalies were on point. Defenses both. It all came down to who was the better team, and obviously Georgia just had that little bit of oomph to surpass the Buffalo Bandits. But again, to go 1-2, this could a little concerning, but not as bad because we still got a lot more games to go.
And when you talk about the Bandits, you look at the stars on that roster, they were both shut down. The 1-2 players, in my honest opinion, Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, while Dane did get a handful of assists, and that was very clutch from him, nothing on the score sheet essentially from Josh Byrne. He only got one. We're usually used to seeing him score 3 or 4, and a big fat goose egg from Dane Smith on that side. He scored 1 goal in 3 games, Tony. I mean, he scored against Albany. He was shut down against San Diego, and he was absolutely shut down by Dobson against the Georgia Swarm. But I think once he starts getting into a rhythm and once he starts scoring, we're gonna put the league on notice here. But talking about this game, though, 9-8, you really don't see as low scoring games as you did last Saturday. And we gave a couple of days to kind of digest this one. We really didn't know what the main problem was. And my honest opinion, I think you just ran into a hot goalie. Georgia ran into a hot goalie. Matt Vince was playing amazing lacrosse. But then again, so was Dobson on that side. So it wasn't an effort thing, which is why I think the Bandits lost. I mean, I think a couple of the shots, that they took, just inside the restraining line instead of finding the open guy in front of the net, I don't want to say lazy, but it just wasn't as characteristic as we saw over the last year of the Bandits. They wouldn't wait until less than 10 seconds on the shot clock to get a shot off. We saw a lot of desperation shots with 3, 2, maybe 1 second left, and we ran into a lot of 30-second clock violation. But, you give credit to the Georgia defense because they were holding it down too.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that one, especially how we called out Weidman. Weidman has been one of their go-to defenders, and again, he proven it time and time again. You got to have to surpass. You're going to want to go to the one-on-one battles, and that guy right there says, if you're going to want to get to my goaltender, you have to go through me first, and that again shows why now the Bandits are going to have to really have a second look at this and say, what can we do to crack their defense after experiencing that loss in Banditland? Now, usually we don't see losses come about in Banditland against Georgia, but like you said, the last time Georgia's won against Buffalo was back in 2018. So now this kind of shows a little, like I said, it shows a little bit of concern about our offense, defense, defensively, and goaltending. I have nothing bad to say about it.
No,
they kept another 10 goals. They did. Both teams actually did. And you know what? That's great. But again, if Dane Smith was to add a few off his shot count, we win this game easily. Yeah. I guarantee you on that. We do. Because Dane, like you said, it's been a while since Dane Smith has, scored a goal. And it was back since Albany the first week. So you know what? He's trying to be the good playmaker like we always want him to do. Now it's time we need him to be the goal scorer we want to see him be. And that's what I think Dane Smith's trying to do is shoot more. And unfortunately, due to the circumstances, I mean, Dotson was a pretty big dude in net, and it was very difficult to find a spot or gap to surpass him. But other than that, he's been hitting goalposts, no other than more. It's not accuracy because he's hitting the net. But keep on trying. That's all we got to ask you to do.
He was lights out in college, and in college lacrosse, I mean, you don't wear any pads in goal. When you put Brett Dobson, a graduate from St. Bonaventure, in pads, good luck scoring against him. So I give him he's a really tough guy, and I think this is his second season in the league. So he's been absolutely crazy since Mike Poulin left and went to the San Diego Seals. He really took over that spot and did it perfectly. You mentioned it. Defense has been locked down. Goaltending has been locked down.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really have to address the casual fan on Twitter and Facebook that is blaming this loss on Matt Vince? And we're not called the Matt Vince Boulevard Show. We're Banditland Boulevard, but when we're on this show, we call it how we see it. If you're blaming Matt Vince for a 9-8 loss to what seems to be a red-hot Georgia offense to start off this season, they could easily fizzle out. I mean, we saw what happened with the Nighthawks last year. But they came out red hot this year. If you're blaming this game on Matt Vince, what the hell is wrong with you?
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. You shouldn't be saying about Vince. You know what? And as a lot of people have been asking us, like, hey, what's going on with our offense this time of day? 8 goals, guys. I mean, that's with a high-powered offense like we still have from last season. Yeah, there's no excuses that you shouldn't be at 12 or 13 at this point or averaging that, and then you just get shut down and Dobson locks you down under 10 goals and puts you at 8. Yeah, that's scary. That shows other teams that, hey, guys, the Bandits are not all that they seem to be. But you know what? You get Dane Smith hot, you get Josh Byrne back on his heels with 2-3 goal nights, and you get Chris Colucci a couple. This team is dangerous. But again, Georgia played a very smart, strategical game against the Buffalo Bandits, and they became the victor by 1 goal. It wasn't a blowout, but it was a 1 goal. Who was the better team that night? And they showed to be Georgia that night.
And even in a 9-8 game, you can show that the game of box lacrosse is still a game of runs. The Bandits, who were playing catch-up the whole game up until the fourth quarter, they go on a 2-goal run they scored 2 goals in 22 seconds. With
lots to play.
Burns scored the second goal. I believe it was Nanticoke, if I'm not mistaken. Who scored in that quarter?
Nanticoke had the final goal for them on the 8th during the fourth
never mind.
quarter.
It was
Cloutier.
Chris Cloutier. Yep, Chris Cloutier scoring, and then 22 seconds later, 22 puts in the net.
Josh Byrne.
You proved that this guy, this lights-out goalie, is beatable and human. I mean, I understand that this is a game of runs, but if you had more opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net, you would have won this game. If goalposts count as goals, Dane Smith would have 25 goals right now. I mean, a lot of it is it's not an effort thing, I don't think, with Dane Smith. It's a lot of unlucky bounces, but at the same time, sometimes he's not taking the smartest shot, and that's on him. But he's getting robbed by the iron. Oh, my God. How many crossbars and goalposts did 92 hit on Saturday? It was
at least 3
to watch. The amount of times I almost jumped out of my seat when he scored, I'm like, nope, got to sit back down and hit the post. But, you go on a run like that, and you're like, oh, my God. Like, I thought the Bandits were going to run that thing. I thought we were going to win this game like 11-7 or maybe 12-7 after those 2 goals happened. But Georgia, they seem to understand how to lock it down, how to stay in the game. And to everyone that blamed Matt Vince on Saturday, look at the 6th goal, 7th goal, and 8th goal when they went on that 4-0 run to go up 9-7. The 6th, 7th, and 8th goal, I believe maybe the 9th goal as well. All of them were bounce shots. How many bounce shots did the Bandits take? Not many. I can count probably
a lot less than they did,
I can count on one hand the amount of shots, probably, how many bounce shots. Tehoka Nanticoke, with 20 seconds left, takes a bounce shot and gets within 1. I'm like, oh, my God. Why weren't you taking bounce shots the whole game? You could have beat them. They're the most unpredictable shot to take, and Georgia jumped on that opportunity. So to anyone that says, this game is on Matt Vince, why don't you lace up, and try to face against a Lyle Thompson or Andrew Q bounce shot? Because I don't think they're stopping it.
No.
It was an offensive breakdown, which is, I mean, we ran into Albany, who seems to be a great team. We ran into Georgia, who seems to be a great team. San Diego just put up 17 on Rochester, who jumped out of the gate early too, and we beat San Diego. So to anyone who's saying that the season is over or whatever, or why did I get tickets?
It's too early to say.
Way too early. You got 15 games. You got Colorado coming up. You got Rochester coming up. If I'm looking at the schedule behind me, we got New York coming up after that. 3 absolute winnable games. But this one was just a battle of the goaltenders. I mean, this was one of the most entertaining games I've been to in a long time. as far as like a game standpoint, not as a Bandits fan, but like if you're just a lacrosse fan, you're watching this game, this was one of the best games to go to.
Yeah, I could absolutely say the same thing too, because it's very close, nail biting to the end. Like with Nanacoke scored in the 8th goal to bring it within 1 and possibility. They were, at least the Bandits were coming and trying to score that game tying 9th and at the very end. And unfortunately, due to circumstances, the bounces just weren't heading their way.
Ian McKay, though, was clutching the face-off circle, 11 out of 20.
I have to.
Facing against Jeremy Thompson. Now, he may have lost a step, but you got to give credit to Ian McKay because we won over 50% of our face-offs. Which is amazing.
You usually don't see that often. I mean, especially with people who've been taken over for Adler, and Adler's been like, what is his average? Like 45 to 50 per game. That's pretty good. That's all we expect. Yep. But when Ian McKay goes in the faceoff dot and he wins more than his, his fair share, because I think Dylan Robinson did go in a couple times, but I'm not too sure. But I believe Ian McKay was really battling. Like, that's the kind of faceoff guy we do want to have back. And hopefully Adler will, reconvene and, give it a shot at coming back. But otherwise, we have not forgotten about Emerson Clark making his debut.
Welcome to the show. Former Toronto Maple Leaf player, Emerson Clark, I found out.
Yeah, and Desert Dog.
So an NHLer that gone hit the casinos, went to Vegas, and then came to the great city of Buffalo to play for the Buffalo Bandits. That dude's a grinder, man. I mean, I don't know if I think he's just getting his feet wet offensively, but he's digging in the corner for loose balls and stuff. And that was another part of the game too. Georgia was jumping on every loose ball, every rebound. That was big. But if we're talking about Emerson Clark, I mean, welcome to the show. I like that, he's a hard-hitting forward. The referees don't even know what they saw. It was right. I'm in section 106.
You were right there for it.
You wanted to see Ghostface and my guest Jigsaw, who I was with, went to the game with the friggin' Jigsaw mask. You want to see them stand up and cuss out a referee. Go on ESPN Plus and watch a replay of what was originally a 5-minute penalty reviewed.
Oh my God. Clearly he didn't hit him straight in the face.
I mean,
it was right here to the chest, and then he lifted. That was it, but it wasn't as bad.
He did the sell job. He put his head up, and he sold it a bunch. But I think it should have been 2 for an illegal cross check because that's not legal. You can't hit him with a cross check up here by the neck. But give him 2 for embellishment. Give the Georgia player 2 for embellishment. Give him 1 for 1.
That was bad.
And then
that was bad
when Tehoka Nanaco gets smacked in the face with a cross check.
Nothing called, and I was
zero hesitation to run to the center field and say only 2 minutes. But then Emerson Clark hits him right here, and no hesitation goes to midfield and says, that's going to be a 5-minute major. Give me a break.
Yeah. But then they finally thought about that, and they had to reduce it down to a 2 because it wasn't a major.
I like that they have that new rule in place, though, that any 5-minute penalty is automatically subject to video review. So I like that. I like that rule a lot.
Yeah, so even the referee had a little stall moment. Like, he was like, you see the internet circle above his head, like, it's only a 2 minutes, guys. Sorry, we made a mistake. Well, at least you guys understood that and made up for it in a way. But good job on the penalty kill, too, by the Buffalo Bandits, too, as well, stopping 75% of that. So,
and one of them was a 2-man advantage, too. We stopped the 5-on-3 in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was huge.
The game really don't see that happening there because 2-man advantage, and you have Andrew Q and Lyle Thompson on the other side of the field, and the fact that they held them to 0 goals on the 2-man advantage, it speaks volumes on how good this team is defensively.
Yeah, very, very smart. With, like I said, with Priolo, Martin, Spanger, still sucks not having Bomberry in that, but with Cam Wires, he's starting to gel. You can see him growing, and especially how fast when he ever gets a loose ball, he's already on the other side of the field. It's unbelievable how quick he gets that speed right there. He's 6'5".
He's a big dude.
And he can run fast. It's like, that's scary shit to see coming your way. Be like, no, that's dangerous right there. But he's, under the tutelage of Priolo and the guys that have been there, I'm telling you, though, this kid's going to gel into becoming like a good franchise defender that we're going to be needing for a very, very long time. So good on you, Wires, playing smart defensively, too.
And now when I think, when you looked at the scratches and you saw McCully on the scratch list, like that sucks. But when you have a guy like Emerson Clark, in there filling in for him, you still had that scrappiness. You still had the tough nose, hard hitting forecheck from Emerson Clark. Now when McCully comes back, I don't know if
Which would be
Emerson
2
Clark's
weeks.
going to be a healthy scratch or whatever. But did get the inside scoop at Cobblestone. He was not a healthy scratch. He has injured ribs. So for anyone wondering why Brad McCully was out of the lineup, it's because he did hurt his ribs. I believe it was in a practice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but I think that was
he that's what he exactly said at the bar. So he's gonna be. He said he'll be good to go in about a week or so. So like I said, let him mend.
Suits up.
Let him get back to better. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't think he will. I think they're going to give Emerson Clark another shot because I think by far, as small as he is, but he's got a lot of toughness in him. Yeah. And he does dig deep for those loose balls in the corner, and he does put on the big body checks. He's not afraid to pick and go for, like, say, if Dane Smith's out there and Josh Byrne, Chris Cloutier, he'll be like the guy who sets the pick and whatever, but to open that window and opportunity. But again, I like where this is going with Emerson Clark. He's really trying to make a name for himself, and this is probably one of the best teams to do it for, and I'm glad that he's a part of the Buffalo Bandits organization.
And I think he's absolutely earned another week with the team.
Oh, God, yes, at least. At least.
There was a pass in front of the net that, it was tough. I believe it was like a sidearm pass from Josh Byrne, and he just didn't catch it. I'm like, you catch that, that's immediately a goal. Once you understand the playbook, once you understand the offensive plays, you had the one game to knock the cobwebs off to get your feet wet with the team. He's going to be all systems go against the Mammoth coming up. So Emerson Clark is definitely a player to watch, and we'll get into that later in the week when we do the preview for the Colorado game because Tony and I got something cool that we're doing at halftime, and we're gonna.
He did pick up 1 point though. He did get his first point as a Bandit on the assist. That would be for. Let me just see here. That was on Chris Cloutier's goal in the third quarter, assisted by Kyle Buchanan and Emerson Clark on that one. And ESPN goal of the week has got to be to number 91, Kyle Buchanan, on that behind the back, one-handed beating Dobson low to the left side. Oh my God!
Dude, I put that out on my Instagram.
That's all I gotta say about that goal. That was sick.
I put that out on my Instagram story right after it happened. I said this should be X-rated. Oh yeah, my God! Like if you're watching that was madness. So go to YouTube right now after you watch this. Look up Kyle Buchanan's goal of the year because
so sick.
We're in week 5, wrapping up week 5. I don't care. I've seen enough. But there has to be another goal later this season from the Bandits or from any other team that shows me, it's probably a little bit better. No, Kyle Buchanan, one hand on the stick, one hand cradle, behind the back, top shelf. Like I don't think the goalie even saw it.
He sort of did, but it was too late because it was already behind him.
he just heard it hit twine back there. And
that's it.
That was about the only lead we had up until the fourth quarter, I believe, because we were playing catch up the rest of the way. We go on a 2-goal run so we can show the fans, you guys can show them that, hey, we know how to put the ball in the back of the net. But, it was just too much time left on the clock.
Way too much time.
Is nothing. You just showed that you can score 2 goals in 22 seconds. And we were getting a lot of possessions too because we won a lot of faceoffs. We just, offensively, they just couldn't cash in those opportunities. Tiring out the defense late there in the game, and it was wearing out Matt Vince a little bit too. But the bounce shot, I don't care what anybody says. While Nick Weiss, I believe it was right before the end of the first half when he was on a breakaway, shot it right at the guy's chest. It hit the logo on his jersey. I'm like, you got to get in there and you got to bounce it. And he's normally pretty good on breakaway, so I feel kind of bad harping on Weiser there. But the bottom line is they took bounce shots. They got every loose ball. They got every rebound, and they cashed it on just one more opportunity than the Bandits. But it's our third game of the year. It seemed like
nothing to fret.
Nothing to be worried about. But we were going through the same issues last year as far as coming back after a bye week. Bye weeks are supposed to help you. The Bandits play better when they play a long stretch of games. Right now, I'm looking at it. We got 7 games in a row coming up.
That's big.
The Bandits are going to rebound. Just let me tell you right now, The Bandits
We'll be fine.
Colorado, at Rochester, at home against the Riptide. These are 3 games where they can bounce back. They're not going to have some silly bye week in between. We already had 2 in 5 weeks, so they're not going to have one for a long time. Don't worry about it. Like, I think this was just a great game that Georgia played. I thought it was a great, solid defensive and goaltending game that the Bandits played. They just got to make a little bit of tweaks on offense, and I know they can, because with a lot of starters out, they still scored. You know, a lot of them were in overtime. A lot of them were come from behind victories, but they showed adversity. You still got the same core. So nothing's broken. I know that it's just taking them a little longer to come back. And they're also the champions. So you got to keep in mind, people want to come into our building. Other teams want to come into this building and dethrone the champs. That's why I said earlier in the season in my really early predictions, 14-4 seems like a pipe dream to me this year, just because we're the champions. Other teams are going to play us more physical than ever.
That's right. They want to break you down. They got to beat you by the legs. So as long as you can't walk or move or run, that's the only way you're going to get beat. But again, the Bandits are ready for it because they expect it. And, you know, I love the fact that when I also saw Dane Smith's interview after the game, guys, this is pure. We know it's our fault. We knew we have to play better. At least there's no excuses about that game. I love the fact that they're true to their heart about a lot of people. And see, here's the thing. When you see football players and you see hockey players and all different types of sports, but lacrosse itself, Dane Smith pretty much told it like it was.
Yep.
We didn't have it in us to win that game. We obviously didn't play to the expectations that we could be. We just have to try harder and have to push ourselves even more. And I love the fact that that's what you're supposed to tell yourself after a loss and tell the fans, look, we didn't play up to expectations. We didn't play as well as we should. We're very sorry. We're going to try our hardest the next game. And I guarantee you, watch how well they come back and in the rematch of everybody saying about how, you know, from last 2 seasons into the title, watch the difference of how much we'll see. Maybe Dane Smith score 3. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe he'll
all on him.
Maybe his last year, his silent 8 to 12 points a game that would sometimes go overlooked. I mean, we're long overdue for that. But
that's correct.
Your Chase Frazier showed up. Chris Kluche showed up. Josh Byrne, outside of last game, has shown up this year, so we don't have to really worry about that at all. Kyle Buchanan putting on a show for the fans, which is
absolutely
awesome to see. But we're going to get more into the Colorado game on the preview later in the week because we're doing something fun at halftime. We'll tell you more about it on the preview.
Oh, boy.
Because it is wing night, so we're doing something fun. So stay in your seats at halftime and look at the Jumbotron. We're going to be doing something fun there. But we'll get into that a little bit more on the pregame. My advice to the fans before I get into my player of the game, just relax. Enjoy the ride. You're still the champs.
Yes, you are.
It's not like you lost 17-1, 17-3. Like, it's not like you lost 17-5 or 20-7. Like, I remember going to Georgia Swarm game in 2017 where we lost 20-7. Like,
ugly.
That was a rebuilding Bandits team. We lost by 1 goal. Georgia Swarm just beat the runner-ups in the NLL finals 15-8 the past week. Colorado got smoked by Georgia. Now, Colorado did rebound this week and win in overtime against Vancouver. But, you know, we are really angry about that loss against Georgia. And the Mammoth are coming off of a win. I think the team that's going to be more pissed off going into this game is going to have a better edge. And that pissed off team is also going to be at home this week. So, you got some of the fans that I've been seeing, 14-4. We've had 3 straight 14-4 seasons and a whole COVID break in between.
That's right.
Don't be upset if they can't get a 4P to 14-4 because you just know that this is still a good team. We're freaking out over 1 and 2. It shows me that this fan base loves to win, which I love. Just don't cross the line of being a really enthusiastic fan and spoiled. If we start off 1 and 4, okay, we got something different to talk about on the show. But
sure,
you look at teams that are trying to bounce back that are having a slow start. I mean, look at us. Look at Panther City. Look at some of these other teams. But then on the same side, you have teams that you wouldn't expect to jump out of the gate early, like Rochester, Albany, and Georgia. That's just how it is. So the just kind of got to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's got to understand that the fact that we've had actually not 1 but 2 breaks in between games in a way. If you think about it, After Albany's game, we had a week off. And then we played the Seals. We won, had another week off. And now here we go again. We lose to Georgia. Do we have another week off? No, we go right back and start playing on a 7-game run. So this is probably where they're more involved and more, okay, we got a game next week, so we don't have to worry about rest. We don't have to worry about nothing, where it's all about practice, getting prepared, going to play, and beating our opposition. That's basically now that the mentality that they have. So we got to just not worry about what's happening right now. It's only 3 games out of 18. So let's not say like, oh, it's done. The champions are done. The banner was all just for show from last year. Listen, guys, it took us a while to win that 5th title. All right. So relax, calm down, take a deep breath and breathe, and just understand the fact that now after the 7 games that we're going to be coming up to play, maybe they'll get their rhythm back. So again, have faith in your team, have faith in the guys in the orange and black, because like we do, don't lose hope, because there's always going to be another thing.
I feel like the fan base has to also know that to go back to back is a really tough thing to do. I don't think a team's gone back to back since Rochester. So
yeah, back in what years?
2013 and 14, I want to say. Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
They went on their they went on a 3-peat. They were a dynasty back then. But
who they have
last year, you know how many games we won in overtime? Like, just let the season gel out. Like, we're not gonna be steamrolling teams.
No.
The champions, because you have a new mentality now. When you have a title to defend, other teams are gonna play you a lot harder than they did last year. And I don't know what it is, if it's a mental thing or whatever, but teams want to come in here and pummel us. So 14 and 4, I mean, that's tough. But I mean, the fan base, just relax, have faith in the Bandits, because I think they know what they're doing. Johnny knows what he's doing. This whole thing with Dane Smith, hitting the goalpost and not finding the back of that's all temporary. He signed a 5-year deal for a reason. When you get him scoring, tell the league to look out. When you get Emerson Clark scoring, when you get Brad McCulley scoring, Dalton Sulver scoring, look out. I mean, I think only 2 offensive players, maybe 3, have exploded right out of the gate, and that's Chase Fraser, Josh Byrne, and Chris Kluche. When you get the whole crew cooking, I mean, that's when you can say, oh my God, like, the boys are back. The Bandits are back. But, maybe just 3 games, a couple bye weeks in between to get their feet wet. I like the stretch, though. This 7-game stretch in a row, where it's just 7 consecutive games, this is going to be nothing but beneficial for the Bandits. They don't have that silly bye week in between where they can derail them or do whatever.
No.
This 7-game stretch is good because, statistically over the years, the Bandits play better when they have a next week, and then a next week, and then a next week, and then a next week.
Yes, sir.
That's just how it is. So this is nothing but beneficial. As far as the Georgia game goes, just a back and forth. Talk about a game of runs. That is a textbook definition of it right there.
Yes, sir. You can't complain about the fact that when you have a 2-goal lead, you're probably telling yourself it's not time to slow down. It's time to keep that foot on the gas pedal and keep going forward, because you don't want to give any teams an opportunity to just come right back. Like you said, it's a game full of runs. And if you allow them to come back, guess what? You're going to be looking like seeing them in a distance far, far away when you thought you had the lead, and it says goodbye. So again, just got to keep playing all the way through until it's over. No stoppage whatsoever.
And if I had to give out a player of the game for the Bandits,
the
guy got 13 shots, 2 goals, 2 assists, 95. Ka-chow, Chase Fraser, definitely player of the game. Exploded right out of the gate. That guy is just magical with the ball. When that ball's in the webbing of his stick, Chase Fraser does a lot of great things with it, and he did against Georgia, against a hot goaltender. So I'm going to go with 95.
Yep, especially scoring both his goals on the power play.
Yep. See what happens when you get this team a man-up situation. That's another good thing we can say. The power play and penalty kill special teams have been outstanding for the Bandits this year. And Chase Fraser is a big part of that offensively, and his hard-nosed ability to scoop up loose balls on defense as well.
Yep. Basically, I'm not going to say player of the game for the Bandits at all. I'm going to say defensive core. Sure. And saying all the defense and the goaltending as well. I mean, basically a human shield on trying to keep not only one of the best scorers in the game, Lyle Thompson, but you got Andrew Q, you got Shane Jackson, you got the other Thompson,
Miles,
the other,
yeah,
the other Lyles and Miles Thompson, Jeremy Thompson. I mean, Jesus, like keeping them under 10 again. What more can you ask for? That's a huge win for the defense and the goaltending. You keep it under 10 double-digit goals. That's huge.
yeah.
Even though we lost, but still, that's an A for effort on your part. You
Definitely.
couldn't ask for a better day. So that's what I'm going to say is for the defensive core right there. Just bravo, guys. Good job.
And 48 is just doing 48 things. Matt Vince is the greatest Bandits goaltender of all time, and you've had some great ones in the past. Pat O'Toole, Steve Dietrich,
Anthony
Cosmo, Ken Montour, Mikey Thompson. Matt Vince, I've seen enough. I think he is the best Bandits goaltender, and he's a big part of the reason why this team is on the 3 consecutive 14-4 run. And then going to the finals in 19 and 22 and 23. He's a huge part of that. The defense is a huge part of that. Just wait until the offense starts clicking. And hopefully that takes place this Saturday, because Colorado, just
here we go again.
poking around on Twitter and poking around on Instagram. I got some of the Mammoth fans. I'm just looking at some of their comments, and they're talking about revenge. I'm like, okay, you pretty much had our number from 06 to 23. So if you want to throw out revenge, I think the Buffalo Bandits are still overdue on their revenge tour. One championship, and when you take out the East and West division, no, we're still on our revenge tour, bro. Yours was from 06 to 23. We're looking at 17 years of domination against the Bandits. We're only one season into this revenge tour, guys. So when I say husk up and revenge and all that stuff, if there were a game for the offense to come back full force, it's on wing night this Saturday against the
Yes, sir.
And the Bandits are overdue for a game where they just explode on a team and absolutely kick their ass, kick them in the mouth from start to finish. If they do that this week, consider the Bandits back, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially with how our offensive power has got to just get that little sleep off, and now it's time to wake up tour. Now it's basically we got to get back out there and average 13, 14 goals a game. And when Dane Smith starts scoring goals, guys, we win every game. That's basically how I will say it, is we win every game when Dane Smith does find the back of the net.
Yeah, and when the secondary scoring does too. Game 3 of last year was a huge example of that. We had, oh my God, I think it was Tehoka scoring the first goal, then a whole bunch from Josh, but then you had Brad McCulley and Chris
Ian McKay
scoring goal, and Ian McKay scoring goals.
Max Adler,
Matt Spanger scoring goals.
Yep.
Once Dane starts putting the ball in the back of the net, because I think he only had 1 goal in that game, and we still scored 13 and won the championship.
Yep.
He got a crap ton of assists because that's what Dane usually does. That's a
He's
big part of why he was NLL Finals MVP, scoring 4 goals against Colorado in the first quarter in Game 1. Dane knows his competition, and if there's a game where he's going to return to his full self, this would be it. January 6th against Colorado. Mammoth have had a tough history against us. They pummeled us pretty good in 06, and they beat us in 22. That was heartbreaking. But, if there's one player on the Bandits that's a thorn in their side, it's 92.
Yep. The great Dane Smith himself.
And 95.
Yep. Put a smile on their face. That's all it takes.
If there's someone that gets under Dylan Ward's skin, it's definitely 95.
Yes, sir. It would definitely be his smile, because that's all it does. It kills him with a smile.
But you know what? 9-8 final from KeyBank Center. It's not panic mode. So we're not hitting the panic button, guys. Georgia Swarm.
Too early.
Just have you maybe realized that Georgia could be a contender this year?
Good.
Georgia's going to jump on every opportunity that they can. I believe they're top 3 in the league right now. They're 3-1. We're 1-2. Guys, just face it. They're a really good team. Lyle Thompson is an insane player. The fact that we held them to under 10 goals should be a moral victory, even though I hate moral victories. That's huge. And it speaks volumes on defense and goaltending.
Yes, it sure does. Like I said before, you keep a team under 10, especially in this league, in box lacrosse, that's huge.
That's a 41-year-old goalie. 41.
Yeah, and you're still doing it. Good Lord. If your offense clicks, it's games lights out for every team that faces you.
So just get that offense back.
Once the offense clicks, game over for every team that faces us.
Exactly. Yep. I think with that said, we got to hit him with a sponsor. Tony, go ahead, bro.
All right, we'd like to first thank off our sponsor located at 734 Sheridan Drive. It is Mitchell's Tavern, one of the best beef wickens on town. Mentioned Banditland Boulevard. They said, guys, if you do, you may receive a discount on your next bill. So mention us, mention Tony LaMonica, mention Trevor Hauer on the other end, and say Banditland Boulevard said this is going to be key. I want to see this for myself. Mitchell's Tavern says they got the best food in town. They have the best service in town with, and basically they said, come see us or come see how it is operating. So guys, go to Mitchell's Tavern in Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. You can look it up online too at Google or any other websites. But also, we'd like to thank our YouTubers from YouTube. We can't thank you guys enough for watching us now, finally getting to see our faces.
Yep,
give us the like and subscribe button.
Yep.
On the HD camera. Yes, you can. And also for our listeners on Spotify.fm and Anchor, give us that 5-star rating. We would love to do more shows for you. We're going to do shows regardless because that's what we love to do now. So hit us up on that too as well. And once again, everyone, every fan that wants to be a part of the show, please message any of us. We will
open up your phone, type in my name, type in Tony's name, shoot us a message. It's that easy.
It's real simple. Can't complain nowadays with the technology. Add us. Let's go.
We do this. Zoom is so easy.
It is.
But I'm telling you what, and also, Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
I don't think we did a show in 2024 in this calendar year. So we started this in 2022. We turned the page over to 2024. So Happy New Year to all of our viewers and all of our listeners.
That's right. And I'm even wearing the shirt too for doing so.
I wore that one to the gym today. When I was crushing push day today, I was wearing the tuxedo shirt. I got some good looks, and a lot of people were telling me, let's go Bandits. So yeah, we got
that's awesome.
The Crunch Fitness in Tonawanda, New York was filled with Bandit fans. So that's really good to see that we're finally getting some recognition in our sport. So that's awesome.
Yep. And guys, like I said, just don't be afraid to message us. We'll be more than happy to squeeze you in on any pregame, postgame, or even live interview, hopefully with a player, if we can get another one on board. But like I said, hit us up with a message. We'll be more than happy to shoot you on board.
Come out to Cobblestones after the game because that's what
have a drink.
We'll be there. Buy you a drink, buy us a drink, talk some Bandits, So
might as well.
If you're 21 or older, show up at Cobblestone after a home game because we'll be there.
Yes, sir.
So I think with that said, we got 3 words to leave them with, Tony, before we sign off.
Yes, we do.
1 and 2, but we have a losing record, but we're still going to say these 3 words. Okay.
Always.
Ready?
Let's go Bandits. Let's go.